Two baits, same setup, two different kinds of rattles. One is a plastic low pitch rattle and the other is a copper high pitch rattle. Both great for catching bass in different circumstances, and in certain circumstances one outperforms the other.
Oh my God, dude. I've never seen a fish that big.
So here I've got a couple of different rattles. I've got one, I've talked about this one before, my little plastic one. I got the two halves of this, and I'll put a link in the description below. I got them overseas. It's a China thing because they don't make them in the US yet. They discontinued making them in the US. I used to get them here through Bass Pro Shops, but can't anymore. So I make my own, the little plastic ball. It's the right size to get inside that 4.5-inch flipping tube. And then I put a stainless or a corrosion resistant BB in it, and I get a rattle. And then I've also put a link in the description from a tackle making manufacturer. I get these brass rattles here, and it's got a brass capsule here that's pressed together, and there's a BB in it. So there's the two rattles. Now, one has a high pitch and one has a low pitch, and you can't really tell as much, maybe a little bit. There's the brass. There's the plastic, and that's outside the tube. Now it makes a difference when they get into the cavity of the tube. So why do rattles matter? Well, in low light conditions, muddy water, stained water, cloudy days, rainy days, bass can use their lateral line and the hair-like nerve endings along those lateral lines to sense water pressure differences and sound. And the pitch of a rattle can be very important. A high pitch sound has a high frequency in the water, and a low pitch sound has a low frequency in the water. So a low pitch rattle has a low frequency and a long wavelength. A high pitch rattle has a high frequency and a short wavelength. And the higher wavelength, or the longer wavelength of that low pitch rattle, allow it to travel further in the water. So pitch can matter. So my plastic rattle, the one that's got the lower pitch sound in it, I'm definitely going to use that in muddy or stained water. I'm going to use that early in the morning, low light conditions. I'm going to use that on cloudy or rainy days. Thick cover where I'm trying to call fish in from a little bit of a distance. They'll hear this one further. When might you use the brass rattle instead with the higher pitch in it? You might use that in clearer water where the fish can see better, where there's finicky or pressured bass, or situations where you might want a more subtle sound. And there's some days when you don't want any rattle, and you know, sometimes they're highly pressured, and you can kind of move from low to high to none depending on the water clarity, those light conditions, and then whether the fish are pressured or not. How I fish these things, I just fish them like you'd fish any other normal tube. The one thing that I do a little more with this is I fish it slower, because in the case of the plastic one especially, when this thing goes down and finds bottom, where most people are reeling it back in and going in for the next pitch already, I'm going to let that thing sit there, and I might even just pop that thing a couple times, because it doesn't take much movement at all to get that rattle working. And I'm telling you, those fish will come from quite a distance away. Like I said, I think I used to scuba dive for bridge inspections, and I'd be in smallmouth areas, right, and or areas where there's bass around rocks, and I would take two rocks and tap them together, you know, make that same kind of low pitch sound in the water. And I'd have fish just emerge that I couldn't previously see. So they're coming from 10, 15 feet away sometimes, hearing that rattling sound, and whether it's curiosity or aggression or a feeding response, or it's a combination of all three because they happen together. The hears the rattle and it comes over because it wants to know what it is, and then makes a decision that the bait looks like something it wants to eat. Now you got a feeding response, and that's the sound a crayfish makes. It can be a combination of all of them, but sound definitely brings them in. And you know that because you see rattles on jigs and rattles in lures and But this one inside of a tube, which is an already deadly bait and kind of a low use bait now, you put that rattle in there and can really be a game changer. You can fish it slow, you can let it sit still, you can pop it a couple times and dead stick it. I mean, it's just a great bait. And if it hits anything, makes contact with anything on the way around, it just enhances its entire presentation. It's an absolute fish catcher. I've been super successful, bailed me out any number of times using this bait in a Texas rig flipping situation. Okay, so next time you tie on a tube bait, remember that the sounds of the rattles can make a difference in the different situations. Try this on your lake. I fish both of them. I've had a lot of success. Hope that tip is helpful. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.